match of the day. So once more, we're sending it back over to Brent and Josh.
Thank you very much, Zoe. Yeah, and Josh, I'm a little bit surprised, you know. Johnny was giving it all the spiel. He's talking enough. And I'm expecting him to have the minerals to go for the Toronto prediction. Just doesn't happen, does it? He's, I'll do the 180. It's like me back in 2018 when I was on the desk.
I know. And then next to him as well is just an upside-down ice pop, essentially. I think that's what Custer's going for today, I think. It looks like you could grab him by the head, turn him upside down, and give him a lick. I don't quite know what's happening there. But yeah, the desk is all kind of unified in their belief in the Atlanta Reign right now. And I think that indicates as well that there just are too many unknowns about where Toronto are going to place in these early couple of weeks. This is a very new team, but they have a coach that people very highly regard. It's KDG, who was with the Philadelphia Fusion last year. And they have a lot of great talent coming out from contenders as well. But what we've seen is underwhelming so far from the Toronto Defiant, and I don't think it's filled everybody with confidence, despite the fact that they are the team that has the better record coming into this. So there's a lot of questions that have yet to be answered, and I think this is going to be a great match at getting a real true look at the skill level of Toronto.
Yeah, I was incredibly high up on Toronto in the preseason. I think I put them in 5th when it came to my North American power rankings, which is way higher than a lot of other people. And yeah, I wasn't too impressed, honestly, off the back of their first match, despite the fact that they did manage to get the win, obviously. If you're looking at the records alone, you might think that's something that's slightly different. But this match here, I completely agree with your kind of estimation of it. It's going to be a real test now for the Toronto Defiant. We're going to finally see kind of where these teams are starting to land and even out over the course of the opening weeks of the Overwatch League season. And their opposition, the Atlanta Reign, are really quite a formidable opponent, despite the fact that they ended up losing. I think that this is a team that is incredibly strong when it comes to the rush compositions. They show a ton of promise when it comes to that one specific archetype of the meta.
Definitely, and we'll talk about that more when we get to the map pool variant as well. But this DPS line is what you really need to be taking a look at here, I think. It's Kai, it's Pelican. This is what they had the most success with, actually. I saw former coach of Kai, Packing10, who was with the Valiant last year, tweeting out, I believe, he said, "Play Kai if you want to win." Which I think everyone wants to win. So there's just some free advice from the former successful coach. I think it was a nominee for Coach of the Year or something last year.
Yeah, it's good advice, honestly, given the fact that, I mean, statistically, I remember we were looking at one of his Indeed player resumes, and you had Kai leading in so many categories. The guy is just a ridiculous hit scan player. But we are going to be heading into the first map, and we get our glimpse of the map pool as well, which is going to be really setting the pace and tone, I think, for a lot of this game. And Nepal will be the first one. Josh, what do you make of all of this? How well does this shake up in terms of leaning towards one side or the other?
Oh, you want me to give my analysis on the map pool immediately? Well, Nepal, great in terms of the rush comms, right? But when you get over to Blizzard World, Dorado, and even Anubis, it starts to get a bit more sticky. Blizzard World and Dorado, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of double bubble stuff being played. Anubis, you can get away with playing either if you want to force it. But I do think that the rush compositions should be very viable there for Atlanta too. So this is a mixed bag, like it was against the Florida Mayhem. But I think a lot of people are coming into Nepal here expecting Toronto to just be a slightly worse team overall than Atlanta Reign. And that's not really based on that much at the moment. It's just people's preconceived notions coming into the season of where Toronto are going to be placed. Most people are not quite as high on them as Atlanta, I would say, in the community at large. But I think these teams are going to be pretty even over the course of the season. I've got them landed in a roughly similar place. So I don't think we have a feel yet for what Toronto are excellent at. This is where we get to find out.
Yeah, it's going to be nice to see. And this is always the exciting part, I think, of a new season, is that your expectations might get upset, or, you know, you get to finally see where these teams are going to be placed. But here we are, Nepal. Feels like we've seen a similar scene happen already today. As they're going to be rolling out, you can see the Symmetra TPs helping these teams just get straight into the middle of the action. And they're going to be brawling pretty quickly. Massa already trying to get an early little boop as both the Ice Wars are going to be going up. And the first kill, yep, that's Sado going down. The Immortality Field unable to save him. Gets destroyed shortly afterwards, but it's evened out ever so slightly. Now you can see this flank angle by Hisu. Already, Hawk just trying to jump on it and shut it down before it gets any more damage done. But Hisu just putting in some steady and consistent work now off of these flanks. Look at this, Sado has returned back into the fight, and he's going to start trying to swing into them here, but he's holding his shield against this amplification matrix. Still, no one in control at this point just yet, Josh.
And Sado's just come back straight to die once more. Toronto looked like they had an opportunity to flip that around, but I want to give credit there to Iris, just healing up his team over the course of that entire engagement, and Hawk too, because Hisu looked like he was on a very dangerous flank at the bottom of that staircase, and Hawk was immediately on him. The D.Va is so important in these comps, flying up over the top of the Mei walls to do incredible damage behind Reinhardt's shields, and then shutting down threats by any flankers. Hawk's got to be on his A-game. It's not a person that we talked about too much in heaping praise upon him last year, but this is a new year, and that's a new Gator. What a shatter as well.
Yeah, he's just going to open it all the way up here. The Immortality Field, the Atlanta Rain goes down pretty quickly. And Blizzard as well locks up Sado here. Just about gets around the corner, but the self-destruct from Michelle just to peel away. It takes out Hawk. It's an opportunity now for Toronto to really just try and close this out.
Yeah,
securing this
the
team
difference maker there is the sound barrier, Brent. After the shadow goes down, the sound barrier from Ansun J has been built up so much faster than Massa's. All of the healing was done by Iris in the previous fight. Not really that much by Massa. And now we see adjustments on either side. Oh, it looked like it for a moment there. Pelican was thinking about going to something different, I think. But back to the Mei, and now double support ults available for Atlanta. Very good for engaging.
Yeah, I mean, the Am Matrix was used early on there by Toronto just to push off the Atlanta Rain when they may have been trying to recontest, but they just waited out. Oh my goodness! Where did Sado come from? He was just hidden right in the corner, lays down the Earth Shatter, and he catches them all off guard. It forces out the sound barrier from Massa very early on, and it's going to give them the health they need to just battle through this fight. But Gator will fall, and now you're missing one of your main tanks still. It's a great ice wall from Pelican as it's going to separate away Hisu and the rest of his team. Massa
just killed Hisu and Ansun J, and he's looking for more blood as well. He gets the final blow on Nace too. Wonderful stuff. And Sado just feeds himself away again. It seems like Sado is determined not to let these points roll over. That's his second death where he's just been late into an unwinnable fight. Unfortunate, though, that Toronto weren't able to capitalize on the Earth Shatter that he laid down. Atlanta had a big recovery.
Sometimes when you spot those 1 in a million moments and you take them, you know, they might pay off, but ultimately if your team's not on the same page, or if they're not quick to react to it, it can be kind of for nothing, which we've been seeing a couple of times. The Deadeyes are used by both of these teams against speed boost around the corner. Hisu doesn't want to overstep his boundary. It's going to be going straight into the defense matrix. A couple of shots going off here. Looking for opportunities to try and collect. Oh my goodness. Gator, the amplification matrix lays down the Earth Shadow. Will get frozen up, but look at that. A defensive ice wall from Pelican saves him. It's one of the most powerful abilities we're seeing in the game right now. It's just really saving a teammate, but also being used in an offensive capacity. Hawk having to use that self-destruct though. He's just going to be using it so that he has to mech up, but with 97% left in this round, is anyone even going to be able to touch? Not the case. The Atlanta Rain walking away with round number 1 in their back pocket.
I'm very impressed with this Gator and Hawk duo. They're so good at being able to find their timings to go aggressive and find timings to go and split off. The rotations are all very, very well planned out. They're reacting before their opponents even know what they're doing. And this is coming from a tank line that was very highly rated coming into the season last year. They had done exceptionally well in Gauntlet, for the best that a North American team had done. They had defied all expectations, and then they came into the Overwatch League and had what was essentially a pretty mediocre season. A lot of people are looking towards Gator and Hawk to revitalize that.
Yeah, it's a very good point, and I think it's important as well to try and sell this early on now, that maybe this is the Gator and Hawk that was promised. You know, you give them a bit of time to work with. Got a new coach, Hunter, coming in as well. Suddenly, things might start clicking for them, and we see that potential being met. Both teams are just going to clash here. Speed boost engaged straight in the ice wall to try and separate again. The Atlanta Rain, they're just taking fights in the rafters, it feels like. Oh, the book from Massa. I don't know if it's going to convert into a kill, but it matters not at the end of the day. It's quite even. Ansun J just able to get that kill onto Pelican, which is always nice. But it seems like the Atlanta Rain have a clear understanding of how they want to take this fight further. Just diving on to Michelle, taking him out, and it's going to be another early teamfight win for them.
Atlanta Reign are taking control of the tempo of these fights. They're the team that engages. They're the team that uses speed boost first. They're good at scouting the position of the opposing Mei and using walls to block the opposing Mei off so that they can't counter wall and stop them. That's a real theme in terms of how Pelican is thinking about the game, it seems. And here the wall just delays them even further, creates a tiny choke point, and funnels the Toronto Defiant into this window.
Whoa, that was almost really good by Massa booping Sado back when he went for that, but not enough. Gator ends up getting sent straight back into it, but even still, the Atlanta Reign are in a perfectly fine position, able to win out this team fight, regardless of the fact that they lost their main tank early on.
What are we watching here as well? Ansoon J and Pelican just rotating around each other in some kind of some death dance, mating ritual, who knows? Impossible to tell at this point. Atlanta are so coordinated though. Even with the loss of their main tank there, they knew exactly what they wanted to do, and they were still funneling Toronto down a tiny corridor into an amp matrix. They converted so well, and the early kill on the Mei too from Massa's boop was enormous.
Look at this.
The wall to boost him up.
So preemptive when it comes to their ultimate usage with the Deadeye. They know that they're going to be engaging in.
It's definitely the best way to play. We've seen it from top teams in the past before. It's what the Shock have defined. When you're playing Rush, you have to be the first mover. You have to be the one that takes the advantage first.
So we stopped at his tracks. That was Gator trying to unleash the Earth Shadow as well, but again, didn't really come up with the goods. That's a Blizzard being ate by Michelle. So potentially an opening now for them as they're rolling forwards, and look at that. Straight away, taking advantage of the fact that, you know, they didn't have any ultimates, at least supportive ultimates on the side of the Atlanta Reign that they wanted to use, but in the midst of all of that fight, they may have flipped it over, but now look at it, Josh. They didn't have it in the last fight, but they've got them now. The amplification matrix, the sound barrier, it's going to be pretty integral for them retaking this fight now, and Toronto realize it. Look at this, the wall goes up. It's another proactive play, but this time from the other side, as the Earth Shadow is laid down, but Atlanta Reign were more than prepared for it. They're going to invest the ultimates, the amp matrix as well, just to help them win this fight out. And it looks like that might just be the entire map here.
Kai Diff, I don't know how he found the pick on Hisu at the beginning there. As the engage came in from Toronto, he kills the opposing McCree before Michelle can get in his face. Kai is doing so much work in the middle of these fights.
Sado was just trying to get onto the point there, but just being brutalized, tracked around. Now you can see a last-ditch self-destruct comes through, but it's not going to get any kills. It's not going to be the miracle they need in this time. The overtime will burn. They're just going to stall it out, moving over to a couple of these heroes. Sado's back in the fight again. Seems to be a recurring theme thus far, but he is going to be sent straight back to the respawn queue. No one to dislodge Kai from that backwards position, and that will be map 1, the Atlanta Reign, showcasing why you need to take them seriously. If you put them on the rush comps, you got to be ready to brawl.
A great first map from the Atlanta Reign, showcasing, yeah, just their strengths. This map works perfectly to it. Atlanta have come out to play this year. They want to be taken seriously. Half of the community believes it, half of the community is yet to be sold. But at the end of the day, when the evidence is before you, you're gonna have to, you're gonna have to get on board. Atlanta have got some proving to do, though. They've still, you know, it's still very early days in the season, and they haven't managed to put a win on the leaderboard just yet. Toronto have many opportunities to reply, and the later maps coming up favor the dive kind of comps, so still time for Sado's Winston to change the tide of this fight.
Gotta leave the hot takes and jump into conclusions to me, Josh. You know, it's what I'm known for. I like to immediately just make outlandish statements at the start of the season, only to then be disrupted as a tweet is pulled up. But yeah, that's gonna do it for map number 1 in this series between the Atlanta Reign and the Toronto Defiant. We'll find out what's going to be happening in the next map. I mean, that was absurd. Maybe, hopefully, a little bit more of that. Don't go anywhere.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League, and by IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, everybody, and yes, here's some power rankings of IBM Watson again. You can see our top 10 damage dealers of the 2020 season, and there's Hisu sitting it nice and tidy at number 8. Quite surprising, I think, a bit of an underrated aspect, a bit of an underrated player as well over the course of the 2020 season. Obviously, more respect being gained on his name the later the season progressed, I think, but he is obviously present in this match here on the Toronto Defiant side.
He had a great performance towards the end of the season, particularly, like you're saying, for the Philadelphia Fusion last year. He was their decisive factor when it came to Sombra gameplay. Their entire strats revolved around him. And then he picked up long-range hit scan and benched Carpe towards the end of the season. You've got to remember, this guy is a top-tier DPS player, but it feels like he's doing a lot of the heavy lifting for Toronto. It feels like their teamwork and their coordination isn't quite there yet, so Hisu has to do a lot of work. And when you're up against Kai, that's extraordinarily difficult to do. It's really hard to gap Kai when it comes to these kind of McCree matchups and stuff. So Hisu's definitely got his work cut out for him as we progress further through this series.
You're up against Kai and you're up against Pelican as well. I mean, not necessarily taking the individual 1v1, but the Atlanta Reign, I think, in terms of a lot of the teams in North America, the DPS that they've got, I mean, they're kind of stacked. Well, here's the maps. You can see that we're going up into Blizzard World next, and we take a look at our map leaderboard presented by Xfinity. You can see the Atlanta Reign currently hold a leading time against the Gladiators, 4 minutes 32 seconds in the time bank, and that was an impressive finish indeed back in 2020.
Yeah, extremely impressive feat. This could be another opportunity here, except that we're going to see them move away from the rush in all likelihood. We haven't seen any team so far on Blizzard World go for rush compositions. It's not a map that seems to favor it. When you're going through point B, there's just too much of this high ground where the dive targets or the dive players can get damage on you. The Winston's going to be zapping you from around corners. It just doesn't seem that effective. So yeah. I would imagine that for Blizzard World here, and even for Dorado, the next map, we're now going to see Atlanta Reign challenged. In a similar manner, actually, Bren, as we saw the Florida Mayhem challenged in our previous match. Both teams pushed outside of their comfort zones. Which one's going to end up looking better? Which one's the most well-rounded here of these middle-of-the-pack teams in North America? Well, perhaps Toronto will come out and surprise us all and just demolish.
Could be the case, you know, especially when you're revolving around Sadow's Winston. I mean, the guy got a bad rap in previous years, but I think he was a real centerpiece for a lot of what Philadelphia Fusion used to run as well, was off the back of a lot of his Winston play. The teams have opened up the gates, of course.
Atlanta, I mean, look at this. They look like they're considering it. They're scouting.
Yeah, they are. Are
they going to run a rush comp here on Blizzard World? This would be the first time that I've seen it so far this season. Didn't think we were going to see it, but it looks like they're going to commit. All right. We've got two completely different styles playing against each other here. What a Bionate to begin.
Okay. Yeah, Lastro tried to take the initiative because they went for a bit of a pincer maneuver. Sado tried to leap into the backline, but the Atlanta Reign were too quick. They just jumped immediately onto him. Lastro got caught with his trousers around his pants, or his pants around his trousers. You know, however you want to say it, Josh.
Like
and that should be the first checkpoint.
Yeah, that's a disaster. I mean, Lastro hits an enormous 4-man bio, but then he pays for it with his life. And that can't ever be worth it. For Toronto, they just didn't seem to anticipate Atlanta going that aggressive that early. When you're playing against a rush comp and you are playing the double bubble, it's all about anticipating where these speed boost engages are going to come from. They want to get onto your backline. They want to run over your Zarya. If you give them opportunities and you aren't ready to rotate, they're going to roll you over. Now, this point B, though, is difficult. Like I say, there's many opportunities for Toronto to hold on to the high ground, to just tickle them with Winston over and over again, and just ping-pong Sado on and off the point to stop the payload moving.
I feel like you really need to remove this high ground control, because look at this, they're just getting peppered from on high. They can't do anything about it, and this is the danger of running this kind of rush composition. Is it really does, I think, it definitely showcases the biggest weakness of the composition, which is trying to essentially push off some of these more split up mobile compositions. And look at this stagger onto Hawk. I mean, yeah, he's gonna get the mech.
I've got to say, I love the fact that we have player cams for divas getting staggered. Just looking at their faces as they have to deal with it is, yeah, it makes me feel better for having to endure constant feeding my own ranked games. That's the same face that I have, just an inevitability.
Let me ask you a question here, Josh. What do you want to see from the Atlanta Reign here in terms of their approach? Do you want to see them speed boost up into stairs to fight them over the high ground?
Yes, I think the route they're taking at the moment is the best route, and they can use the window to push people off the high ground too. They use the Deadeye instead and catch Hisu. That's such a nice play before anybody can capitalize.
Yeah, you remove one of the DPS, and look at that, the flashbang will connect Sado, half HP. The grab is big, but Massa is there with a sound barrier. And already the Shatter laid down on the staircase, the bubble not enough to protect Lastro, as he will fall as well. The duplicate will come through. Neist only has the Diva form. It's not the most optimal of targets, but it is a beefy unit. Self-destruct in hand, might just opt to just send it in, indeed. They do.
But here's the problem, Brett. In all of that time with them fighting on the high ground, because they're a rush comp and they all want to stay together, nobody was on the payload. They can't afford to have a player just stay on the payload, out of line of sight the rest of their team. The comp doesn't work like that. So now they've had to give up the high ground control. This is why most teams don't play rush here, because it's so awkward with the way that these walkways and bridges are set up.
You can see Sado just contesting this car just by hanging over the edge. And it stops it just about. You can see him stopping it right there, just walking over the edge. He's not even touching it, but leaping up and down, just buying time for the rest of his team.
And now Atlanta have to go up top. This should be read by Toronto. They can reposition their backline. They can create a lot of distance. Oh, Castro gets sniped.
Yeah, and Sado tried to go for the engage as well with the bubble, but he just got blew up immediately, wasn't able to build up the primal rage. So far, it seems like a lot of the weaknesses that we should be seeing from this rush composition are just not being met. The pace that Atlanta are playing at, Toronto aren't ready to handle it.
Yeah, definitely. They're getting caught out. Every time Atlanta rotate up to the high ground, they're finding an easy pick, or a pick that's too easy. Toronto need to make it difficult for them. They need to have great rotations with their backline, keep them safe, constantly pressure them with Neist and Hisu as they take these high grounds, and then use the Nano and the Primal to close out the engagements. Unfortunately, that has none of the game plan has worked. It's all gone out the window, and now Toronto are looking at 3.5 minutes on the time bank defending C, and this is where Rush starts to be decent again.
We're going to go for an aggressive approach. You can see Sado, he has the Primal Rage. Oh, stunned up though, the flashbang. He's just blown up before he can even do anything. And now Neist, I should say, just trying to get the duplicate off. He's got the Diva, he's got the self-destruct at least. He's going to send in the bomb with the grab. Soundbarrier from Massa is going to protect them, and the bomb doesn't really get too much done. Just wants to try and get out of the Baby Diva form because he's more useful probably in the form of Echo. He's going to go out of the duplicate now as he waits for it to expire. But Atlanta keep this rolling now. Sado with the Primal Rage, Josh. It's got to be big.
I don't think his Primal's going to be able to do anything. He's playing into a flash again. He's got to be so careful with how he engages. Look at that! Look at his health go down. Sado's trying to go in, but without the Nano and without a Zarya bubble, he's so at risk.
Self-destruct into the back line. No casualties. It does force the positioning ever so slightly though. Kai with the Deadeye. They need to keep him healed up, and okay, going to top him up in the end. Just about catches onto Michelle, but not enough for the kill. It's a fully charged Zarya, but the kills are still flowing in for the Atlanta Reign as Sado falls once more. Just not finding the success that they need. Doomfist coming from the side there. Gator will be splattered against the wall, turned into mincemeat, but not enough to stop the cart. The wall will stop any sort of contest going on, and that's 2 minutes that the Atlanta Reign are working with. Let's take a look at the Atlanta comms in this situation right now. How are they feeling?
What was the PayPal again? Sent over.
Initiating match.
You're the one double spam.
Spam? I know. Spam.
You know spam?
Yeah.
Like ham?
Riveting
mean,
stuff. I mean, that's the kind of stuff you can only catch at the Overwatch League.
It's a good job nobody leaked their PayPal address, to be honest.
I thought they were about to. I genuinely thought they were about to at the start. Yeah, that would have been disastrous.
That would have been that would have been damage control immediately, wouldn't it? I mean, that must have been I don't know. Someone must have made a bet about something that they could finish with certain time on the clock. I don't know. It's clearly just some kind of banter between the team, but I mean, sometimes silence is awkward, and it's a sign of things going wrong within a team. It's very tense. Yeah. That wasn't an awkward tension at all. That was the silence of a team that's very comfortable with themselves, with how they're doing. Someone was just chewing in the background. They're all just chilling.
I wanted to hear more about the spam, you know? Not necessarily the spam comp, but maybe the spam and the ham comparisons.
Yeah.
You know,
culinary experts.
Learn a bit of culinary skills as well while we're at it. You know, you learn so
Cooking
much
with Atlanta.
Alright, cheeky
so
little
Toronto have tried to match them.
They have tried to match
them.
This could be a mistake, or it could be what they're looking for. I mean, it really didn't work out for the Mayhem when they were trying to match them in the rush comp in the match the other day, but it's a different scenario, so we'll see. The Toronto Defiant now, Hisu just firing off a couple of the shots around the corner, trying to take these off angles, searching for a head or two. That's a tiny little window of opportunity, but he gets the bullet through it anyway. And now they're going to be going forwards. The wall is up. It's going to be counteracted as well as Pelican sends his up. It's going to be Sado collecting the 2 kills there with the help of his team. I think that was a flashbang as well coming through with Hisu. So, on the attacking side, the Toronto Defiant looking pretty good so far, winning that initial fight.
Yeah, looking decent there, actually. They posture up for a while, they exchange a little bit of spam, forced all of Atlanta into a small corner, and then as they engage, they force out Iris's Immortality field a good 3 or 4 seconds earlier than Lastro has to use his, just as a result of the pressure that they put onto Sado early on, onto Gator early on in the fight. This fight over the high ground, though, is crucial, and again, it's sticky for for Toronto again on the attack here. Oh, that is brutal. The flash and the freeze and just destroyed.
Yeah. And this is the trouble, you know, you run the rush composition, okay, you know, you win the initial fight, but now you get into point B, and if you're still running the rush composition into this team, I mean, this is technically, I suppose, the choke point is where it's going to be strongest. Look at the way that Atlanta are playing. It's like reminiscent of Selfless just playing at the spawn door. The disrespect.
It is. It really is. And we saw this happen against Mayhem on Eichenwald yesterday. It was a very similar thing that occurred. Toronto need a plan to be able to deal with it. When Atlanta themselves got spawn camped, they weren't afraid to use ults. So that's what I want to see Toronto do. You have to use ults to get out your spawn here, so just throw them.
They're going to do just that. The Out Matrix, the Blizzard, the Deadeye, everything really. The exception of 2 is going to be committed.
But they're all kited, Brent. They got no value.
Yeah, nothing for it. And now you're going to see the Deadeye, along with the Self-Destruct, to try and force the positioning, and it has just done the job. The Self-Destruct goes over the wall. It forces them into the line of sight of the Deadeye, and Kai is the one who comes up big. 2 picks now. Toronto looking a tiny bit lost here, just outside their spawn door.
Look at how Atlanta are rotating from high ground to low ground. As soon as they find that they've got an advantage in the fight, they descend to the low ground. As soon as they need to back off, they rotate as a team fully up to the high ground again, where it's very difficult for Toronto to push.
Look at this.
And look at this play.
Look at this.
Pelicans looking. Wait. Sado is going to get isolated here, surely.
Oh, they don't know. They don't know. They don't know. The ice wall possibly going up. There it is. Earth Shadow laid down. Michelle is going to get caught out and frozen off into the side here as the Immortality fields are traded. What a shatter. Gator. Oh my god, he's not even letting off a smile, man. Ice cold at the play of that. And look at this. The Atlanta ain't still holding at their spawn door, just shaving away the minutes. The car does not move, Josh.
Now, what is this now? 2 minutes off the time bank, essentially? There's 3 minutes left. Toronto did very well with their point A take, but they have made negative progress with this payload. It continues to move backwards, away from the objective, and Toronto can't come up with the with the solution here.
They're
constantly fighting from the low ground.
Okay, the Matrix goes out. Nice little window.
But it's kited and they're not using that advantage to be able to take any position. This is
nice
great
boop.
though, the boot from Michelle.
Oh, but he boops the Deadeye into them. Yeah, Kai had the Deadeye, he was holding it from the high ground, but he got booped into them. And again, no reaction from his face. Look at him. The man knows what he's doing. It's disgusting, it's brutal. Killer. Oh my goodness.
That is nasty. That is actually nasty, because that was the only ultimate that they had access to at that point in time too. And they still managed to convert the round. It feels like Atlanta are on it feels like they're in timeout, just stuck at the top of a tower, and Toronto are not allowed to go up there. It feels like it's just, oh yeah, we're just not allowed up there. That's the part of the map where we're not allowed to go.
Currently, they're just not really finding any creative solutions. You can see the Amp Matrix being used by the Atlanta Reign. Yeah, the Toronto Defiant, they have to respect that. They have to try and kite it. It's just buying more and more and more time. A little bit of a freeze going up. Almost a D-Mac. Could have potentially been a kill here.
They've got the payload to the corner. So now Toronto can approach this fight from the opposite way on the arch.
Blizzard comes to Regisu from the back. He is being so careful. He doesn't want to peek out at all with the Deadeye. They're going to get too much done, but now they built up another Amp Matrix of their own. It's going to go back towards the Toronto Defiant. They can't, still not around this corner, but a better opportunity. Now the Sound Barrier, look at this, they want to be going straight in the Earth Shatter, just to stop them from trying to push through this Blizzard and trying to get any damage done. Two-man flashbang from Kai, being approached from almost every single angle. The boop, not going to be connecting. There's going to be the D-Mech now onto Michelle. Kills will follow up here. And it is a lot of damage, Josh, you are correct. God, just about moving around this corner. This could be the opportunity that Toronto needed, but look at the time. 40 seconds! 40 seconds! They've only just got it moving.
Outrageous. What is that? Was that like a full 4 minutes that they shaved off the time bank by spawn camping Toronto? That's got to be so morale hurting as well. These guys have only just broken out their spawn and they're going to be in overtime. Toronto need this momentum. High ground control is not really theirs. They've got Hisu and their Batiste up on the high ground too, but Atlanta quickly take it. They know the areas of the map they want to fight from.
Another Deadeye. Again, seems to be just a reoccurring theme from Kai. The Earth Shadow comes out from Sado, and it did knock Pelican down, but only for a brief moment. As you can see, Hisu trying to turn it around. You cannot stand in front of that Amp Matrix, but look at the shots he's rattling off, finding maybe one opportunity, but no. Nice that goes down. Gator just holding strong onto this cart. The backline is being approached here as Michelle lays down the self-destruct. That was a great flashbang. Just caught Gator and has made him susceptible to the self-destruct. It takes him out. The Toronto Defiant with maybe a window of opportunity here. The players are coming through. Only a couple will stand, but at least the Toronto Defiant, with some miracle plays, will be able to capture it anyway, pushing it into checkpoint B, and 1.5 minutes now to work with. It's not much, but at least it's a prospect.
It's all they've got to work with. And ideally, they would want to finish with time still on the clock, which means Toronto have got to go. This momentum has got to keep going. Look at this replay. Michelle got into the back line to try and pressure them down. Still had the self-destruct to be able to go in. And on the other side, Gator gets flashed. Hisu with a great play. And he goes down.
Up there. Tiny little plays, a little bit of coordination just works out.
So clutch.
But the trouble is now, Josh, they've got 50 seconds. And again, they're holding at the corner. Even if they get this capture in, the best they can probably hope for is a draw if they finish in the overtime. Yeah, Matrix. Followed through. What an Earth Shatter. So many people hitting the deck as the sound barriers are traded once more. It's going to be the self-destruct right in the middle of the Blizzard. The wall will get obliterated. Shredded into pieces. Sano going to be swinging away at a D-Mech Hawk here. Gator in a bit of trouble as well, just backing off. Will mean the Toronto Defiant win out this team fight, but at what cost? No way! No way!
My word, what is that? Okay, is Sado going to get punished for this too? He would have done. If he hadn't got that mega health kit, he would already be dead. Pelican goes down. That was close.
Like I said, the overtime is now going to start to be ticking here, and the Atlanta Reign, all they're going to do is push a 6. They've done their job. It all really started at the start of that second checkpoint, just them spawn camping, buying so much time. The Deadeye from Kai. See what they can do. What a boop! Unreal play. Sano going to try and answer back with his own. The Earthshatter comes round the side, trying to bend space and time to turn back the wheel almost. Seeing if they can try and get a chance to win this map, but it's not going to be the case. Massa breaking the shield with the spam damage, but he gets pushed as well. The counter boot comes out from Unsun J, but not enough. They will not finish. And the map will go the way of the Atlanta Reign, taken away. Holy moly. I mean, I gotta give respect to Toronto Defiant for trying to take it to Atlanta Reign with their favored composition, but not the most ideal series of events here as we're heading into the halftime.
Not at all. Toronto Defiant are looking down the barrel of another loss, or rather, their first loss, and they would be 1-1 in the first week. Not the most disastrous situation in the world, but at the same time, Brett and I am just amazed that Atlanta Reign were able to impose their will upon Blizzard World. It has not been a rush map for anybody else, and Atlanta made it look like one.
I mean, it's insane. If you force the enemy onto your preferred composition, when you're already doing something right, I mean, they must have just gone into their heads in that regard. But it's kind of crazy to look at. And you can see all 6 of them just, you know, cool, calm, collected, a couple of smiles here and there. We're going to be heading to the break as well, as these teams get an opportunity to just rest and relax for a little bit until we head back in to the remainder of the series. Don't go anywhere, guys. You don't want to miss it. We'll be back soon with even more Overwatch League action.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile.
Hey stock footage friends, I'm having trouble leveling up in my ranked games. What do you guys suggest? Signed Guy, working on laptop, at coffee shop.
Young student at portable personal computer here. Have you tried new skins? Maybe that will give you the confidence you need.
Busy doctor here. I think I've got just the prescription you need. Overwatch League Perks by T-Mobile.
That's right, King. With Overwatch League perks, you can instantly connect your YouTube account to your Battle.net account. You can spend your tokens on legendary skins as well as earn new sprays and Overwatch League skins for tuning into tournament matches. With Overwatch League perks by T-Mobile, you'll slay your ranked games, giving you more time to do the things you love. Like eating a hamburger, shirtless, at your computer. Or eating a salad with your bare hands, shirtless at your computer. Or eating a whole turkey leg, also shirtless, at your computer. Overwatch League perks by T-Mobile. They make everything better.
Welcome back, everybody, and here's, of course, your player resume presented by Indeed. And our player is Sado that we're taking a look at here. #1 team fight rate in Reinhardt for 2020 as well. And, of course, the finalist playing for Philadelphia, but now on the Toronto Defiant. And, yeah, we've seen some great moments from last year, Sado. It really was almost like a redemption year, given the popular narratives that were going around at the time.
Absolutely. I mean, most people would talk about him as one of the most improved players of 2020, and he really proved what he was capable of. You know, made it to the grand finals already in 2018, but last year, the 2020 season, he really showcased that he has depth at the main tank position, and he's carrying on with the coach that got him to that position. KDG is now the coach of the Toronto Defiant, took Hisu from that incredibly successful Philadelphia team last year. And a lot of people put a lot of weight into that too. At the moment, it's been a slow start to the season. They look like they're still taking a while to kick into gear. But I wanted to take a moment, Brent, to touch on the coaching, because the coaching aspect of the Atlanta Reign has been something that a lot of people have been critical about, and pointed to that as one of the reasons why they perhaps weren't able to fulfill their potential last year. This team looks like a new team. It feels like it's a totally different environment last year compared to this year, where they look so much more synergized. They have a plan for everything they want to go for, and yet they haven't made that many overall changes. It's an indication to me that there's some serious coaching going on behind the scenes to get these guys up to speed and push them to that next level.
Yeah, it's been quite apparent, I think. It was always the biggest, I think, issue, at least that I had, and I think other people had, with the Atlanta Reign, was that they weren't really meeting that potential. And on the other side of things, of course, you've got, you know, KDG on the Toronto Defiant, now moved over from Philly, as you mentioned earlier. And that's a guy with, you know, we put a lot of respect on his name. But it seems like there's been, you know, the winds of change, you know, are upon us here, because the Atlanta Reign have shown a very, very good understanding of the meta. Their game plan generally as well, going into a lot of these team fights, has been good. And that's indicative, I think, of really a good structure behind these players, you know, teaching them intelligently how to play a certain composition, which usually comes from the coaching side. So it's been, I think, you've got to put a lot more respect now on the name of Atlanta Reign. Now, it's still early days. Again, you know, I like to jump to conclusions, and we will see how they do further on. The series isn't over yet, so, you know, there's always a possibility here. But this time, we are seeing a different approach here. The Toronto Defiant on the defense, deciding, okay, we're not going to try and... We know that the Atlanta Reign are probably going to try and force some, you know, possibly try and force the rush composition, even on Dorado, with the amount of high ground that's available to them. But they're going to be going with the double bubble. I like this. I think this is good. You don't want to be playing into the Atlanta Reign's hands too much.
Absolutely not. Dorado is one of the most hardcore double bubble maps that we have out there, alongside maps like Gibraltar. So I'm interested to see what Atlanta Reign brings out. It looks like they're going to go for a comp that we've seen more and more recently, this Ball Zarya poke composition, where Iris and Kai are going to be providing large amounts of damage from the backline, while Pelican and Gator sync up at the front, trying to counter dive Toronto.
And it's a comp with, I think, varied success over the course of the Overwatch League. I mean, in particular, we've seen a lot of teams not really meeting the potential of it. I think it's still probably quite new. They're learning a lot of the protocols in terms of, you know, how to play it, where are the win conditions, you know, what are the important cooldowns to try and, you know, capitalize off. And we'll see what the Atlanta Reign can get done. It definitely helps having players like Pelican and Kai as kind of the brute force almost, if, you know, it doesn't quite work out for them. But look at this, the Toronto Defiant taking matters into their own hands. An early engagement as the Atlanta Reign try and push through the choke point is going to put an end to that push.
It certainly is. They get flattened by Sado, who's built up to 60% of his primal rage, and Alastro getting close to this nano as well. And this is what's so dangerous about the double bubble composition, is that it has great ultimates to fall back on. Whereas the Atlanta Reigns comp, they're not going to get the same value out of those ults. It's more about getting poke damage out before the ultimates come online, or in the neutral fight before teams decide to invest the ultimates that they already have available. It's hard for Atlanta to get in good positions here. They're really relying on Pelican and Gator to create space for them with these mini synergies, the mini dives between the Tracer and the Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, I mean, Pelican, you can see him trying to put in work as well as Gator, because it all comes down to a lot of those synergies that you're talking about, Josh. The Wrecking Ball and the Tracer player is pretty integral in this composition and trying to create the openings for the rest of the team to succeed, but finding it hard to really get anything done, and it's going to be Gator going down. Look at that pulse bomb. It's a nice see you later. Not too bad at all. Sado actually was the recipient of the nano boost earlier on in this fight, though, and that's the thing that set them up for success here. So this cart won't be moving too far forward. Toronto Defiant still with a pretty good vice grip on this choke.
For Atlanta Reign, it becomes very important to get their kind of backline players, which is Hawk, Iris, and Massa, onto the high ground, rotate them around the left-hand side. But that area is currently being covered by Toronto. And look at this. Look at what happens as soon as they get close. They're just getting minced. They're getting forced to use so many ultimates here just to stay alive. The transfer's having to be expended there, as well as mine.
Lastro's positioning, he was like in the back line there, trying to take the fight on even footing, but not going to be working there. And yeah, they were getting forced to use ultimates, but in the end, the Atlanta Reign are probably taking a favorable engagement. You see Gator is getting a lot of free push at the same time as well. And yeah, that's the trouble with this composition, is it is incredibly split up. If you win one aspect of it, you know, it might be forcing the positioning in another one. You can see all of that early push has just led to a pretty much an instant capture.
And now Atlanta are outside of the difficult zone, to be honest. Toronto is still going to control the high ground, but Atlanta have way more flanking routes where they can get Iris and get Kai in good positions for the fight. Toronto still have to play aggressive. Look at this. Gator again behind on the Hisu. I would have loved to see the synergy there with Gator and Pelican. That could have been a kill, or at least a threat of a kill. And instead, Gators are going aggro, trying to push Atlanta off the high ground.
Gator's trying to punish them here by just going up behind, but they're all going to be taking the approach on this balcony section. I mean, what do you even call it? The ledge? Like a scene out of Spider-Man.
Man on a ledge.
Yeah, they're trying to go for this. You can see the grabs, I believe, traded out as well. Michelle not obviously getting one, but a lot of damage being pushed out onto the Atlanta Reign here. They're being absolutely melted from Nice there. The sticky bomb's doing a lot of work. Sado as well is just happy to clean up as well. The closer he gets to building up the Primal Rage, the closer they can get to those ult rotations that they're looking for.
And Kai's been finding it difficult to get in good high ground positions as the Ashe, where he has sightlines onto Sado and can poke him down. So instead he's going for a more defensive approach. Kai's probably going to be hanging around, pathing with Massa and Iris now to try and escort these players into great positions. The payload is also going to be a bit of a problem. It's probably Pelican's job to try and push that, but Pelican is also needed with Gator. And in the meantime, Toronto can just choose these opportunities to attack. Lastro goes down though, and that could be an opening.
Ooh, okay, Michelle going to get forced up as well, yeah. Wasn't too certain of it, but in the end, it is the Atlanta Reign who are coming out on top, just catching the end of the shield as well with the pulse bomb. And the kills have flowed in. And again, no one to really contest. It's kind of awkward teamfight timings, Josh, is what I've noticed as well. It's like you end up taking the fights that are so prolonged and no one's contesting the cart the entire time. And ultimately, whereas you could have taken, you know, maybe 2 good team fights and maybe recontested, it just kind of, it gives Atlanta these opportunities that you can't really be affording if you're Toronto.
Yeah, I think Toronto are also kind of rushing things a lot as well. They can just contest the payload and then play aggressively when the ults are online. The double bubble isn't like a mega fast-paced comp, like you're running Lucio Moira or something. You want to be going for the hard engages when you have the ults available. Hisu picked at the backline and Naced as well, at risk of going down. Atlanta using both of their support ultimates to engage.
Yeah, they want to try and win this fight out. I mean, they've already got 2 picks. It's off to a pretty good start. Iris, though, 300 health on him. An absolute raid boss, this unit wandering through, but you can't stand up to the nano boosted Zarya. You are just going to get obliterated, son, especially with that 60 charge. Michelle now looking to put in a bit of work. The 3-piece, pick it up. And already that ultimate built up, which is going to be nice for the next round. Or for the next team fight, I should say.
Yeah, Toronto managed to hold on. The Atlanta Reign, though, is switching their entire composition. I thought we were going to see Masago Lucio. Yep, there it is. Okay, so Atlanta, now that we're at point C of Dorado, they figure, okay, this point doesn't really have that much high ground, or at least the high ground is accessible, so let's just go rush. Why not? Pelican can contest the payload underneath the bridge, while Gator and Hawk push up top, and Michelle's been proactive here. I like this.
Oh my goodness. That is so much damage being put and invested into that corridor. I mean, I feel sorry for our observers. There's no way you can even capture what just happened there. It was chaos, a light show, pyrotechnics occurring.
Good proactivity, though. Toronto are not allowing Atlanta to get in good, powerful positions. They hold the high ground. They grab them as they come through the choke. Bionade comes in from Lastro as well. Bish, bash, bosh. Finished them off. And now Atlanta have 1 minute left. And Toronto continue to force the effort.
This is really nice. Surely they're going to be able to catch a couple of these players as well. Sada's Primal Rage has caught Kai, but look at that. The Deadeye is going to get off. And already finding a ton of work here. It does not matter. Sado with multiple kills going his way. Nicely done. 43 seconds. I don't know if that was the intended duplicate target, but it kind of
Probably
works.
not. Probably not. Atlanta are kind of bashing their heads into a brick wall right now, but credit to the Toronto Defiant for becoming a brick wall. They are going to have another grab up, but it's going to be a little later in this fight. Michelle only at 70% right now. So this is the best opportunity for the Atlanta Reign, but not with Pelican dead.
Yeah, that was Pelican was kind of the guy who was contesting a lot of the card as well and pulling the attention two ways. Now, obviously, Pelican's going to be able to get back into the team fight pretty quickly on the Tracer, but it does mean that we're probably looking at an overtime push now. Again, contesting a bit of the high ground. Hawk low down just to keep the cart moving. And Matrix from on high. It's going to cause a bit of a threatening posture. Swinging from above. Gator just trying to... He's like, guys, can you, one of you jump up to me, please? Okay, now he's going to drop down. The bubble is down. Sado going to be mitigating a bit of the damage. What an earth shot. If they can bring down Michelle, it would be massive. The grab is there. Sends it flying. It does not connect. That's a bit of a panic. Okay, not getting too much done with that one, but the nano boost applied now. Michelle has got to make it up, and they've got to make it up big time, overtime. Burning. Pelican just keeping it going, but it's still looking quite good for the Toronto Defiant, despite the fact they went for the, yeah, I don't know what that was, the three-point shot? I'm not sure.
We don't talk about it.
But
we're not going to talk about that one. We're not going to talk about that one. We're not going to run a replay of it. No one's going to clip it. It's fine.
No one
clip it, all right?
We're all in agreement.
Nobody use the new clips feature on YouTube to clip that. Nobody
do that. Don't do it.
But yeah, I mean, that was a rough situation towards the end there. Gator nearly clutched it out. But I think the broad story so far of Dorado is that the Atlanta Reign have struggled, I think. They had some... Oh, no. Oh, okay. This was the good grab.
Okay, this is a different one. This is the one.
Grab.
Yep. That's the good grab.
Well done, observers. Well done.
Yeah.
Saving Michelle's reputation with the community. What a great grab that was, Bren. What a fantastic...
Zarya, I mean, that was the pyrotechnic show I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
That's why we got the instant replay, so we can go back and watch it. But yeah, to go back to your earlier point, it has been the tale of Atlanta struggling here on Dorado, as we kind of expected. You know, this was the reason that Atlanta are currently one series down over the course of the season so far is that they were taken to a lot of maps where double bubble was quite prominent when they're playing against the Mayhem, and yeah, ultimately it seems to be a bit of their downfall now. However, the Atlanta Reign, they have a plan here.
No. Oh,
they are going to show it. They are going to show it. It's gone. Thread the needle. Thread the needle. It's gone onto the high ground.
We didn't want to see this. And look, the game's already begun. They're trolling us, the replay commanders. Atlanta Reign are just going to play inside this house, though. This is such a difficult position for Toronto to dislodge them from. Hisu has gone to Junkrat, though. This is a specific counter strat for what the Atlanta Reign are running. They're going to do so much damage inside there, and a single tire would destroy everyone.
Yeah, look at it. I mean, he's already built up so much. He's built up the tire. He's got the ultimate.
That's a great strat. I mean, that is literally a fantastic answer to the question. Atlanta really posed them a difficult question there. How are you dealing with this forward hold, where they just stay inside the room, use the May wall to try and keep the cart contested? A lot of teams try to use a Nano Boost or a Primal Rage to disrupt them inside that room, but that takes way longer than a Junkrat. Such a cool and yet obvious answer from Hisu. And this tire could just keep the momentum all going.
It's the cool thing about Overwatch, you know, you can make these switches on the fly and it allows us little moments, you know. But here comes the tire.
Panic suddenly in the Atlanta
They need to be respecting this, and they do just that. Hisu does hunt it down, but it's created a big opportunity. Coalescence coming out now. Iris looking to try and clean down his team, heal him up. Bit of damage locked in as well, but not enough to overcome it. So much burst coming out from them.
Hisu.
3 kills with Hisu.
How many kills has he got so far in the Junkrat? I feel like he's had more of the junk than he did when he was playing, when he was defending. That's wild. He's already up to 41% of another tire.
Assuming Jake isn't celebrating too hard, you know, he's probably watching this game with a smile on his face, witnessing some of this gameplay that's occurring. And Hisu is going to make the switch off.
Swapped off. That's very sad, actually. Toronto, though, have got tools to continue this push. Ansun J going to be damage boosting Hisu and pocketing Nace as they move their way forwards. Tank ult's available too to try and lock the Atlanta Rain in place, or make space if Sado decides that they're getting a bit too cramped.
Here we have it. I mean, Gator has the Earth Shatter. He's going to use it. Not really getting too much value, though. They're going to be traded out. Both main tanks gone. Self-destruct into the back as well. And that's going to be the Resurrect onto Sado. It's the Mercy coming out to play as well. And Sun Jae finally going to give it a value in that direction. And that's going to be 4 minutes for the Toronto Defiant. Pushing this forwards, and it was a nice fight, yeah.
I like that from Toronto, you know. Sado uses his Primal to make some space. They caught Gator, and then Nace copied Hawk with his duplicate and used the bomb to make space for Ansun J to get the Resurrect on Sado. Really nicely coordinated on the fly kind of improv set play there. And Atlanta so far haven't been able to really pin the Toronto Defiant down with their rush call.
Kai on the high ground. There's an opportunity now for the Atlanta Rain to try and put a stop to this, but the Toronto Defiant seem to be showing no signs of slowing down. I mean, I like the way they're playing this again. They got the Echo just kind of peeking up the head every now and then, putting out a bit of damage.
Here's a question though, who actually contests the payload here? Normally if they had Tracer Ashe, it would be the Tracer. But now they just have to go for these super hard engages. Sado, just dodged that. Gator slept on the other side, might get punished.
Oh, Sado actually wraps back around. They thought that Sado was not going to be an issue. Leaps back up, takes out Iris because the Immortality Field wasn't there. It was used earlier to try and combat him with the Nano Boost laid up. It's not over just yet, though. Hawk now just trying to shut down from the skies. Almost there. Nice finally going down. See Hawk using the self-destruct as well. Probably going to be able to get the remake going. Not quite the burst damage of Michelle. Quick little right-click into the melee. Far too much to overcome in a short amount of time.
Would have killed on the experimental patch.
Yeah, probably. Oh, well, maybe. Yeah, actually, possibly. Who knows? I actually don't know how the D.Va mech damage works with the cooldown. It's never come up before.
I don't know either. I don't know either. It was a throwaway comment. Look at the ult from the Toronto Defiant. They're in a position where they can try and engage off the back of Sado's Primal Rage. As soon as they kite this Amp Matrix, with 2 minutes left on the clock, they have a duplicate that could be huge if they duplicate the Reinhardt or something like that, and use Sado's ult to just make space for them. Oh, Hisu up on the high ground, though. He's got to get healed.
I mean, Gator is taking the fight straight to them, though. Probably trying to get some value out of this. The Immortality Field. Nice, has to use the duplicate there. You can see maybe moving over to the D.Va. Seems to be a priority target, but I think that was a little bit rushed. Just seeing if they can get a lot more health to try and work with here. Building up this self-destruct. Maybe they're going to try and make a play happen here. Self-destruct gets sent into the back line. The grab wasn't connecting, actually. Just about out of range from it. But it is locking them in place long enough for them to get a bit done here. In the middle of all that chaos, Gator ended up using his Earth Shatter earlier as well. Nobody can really dislodge this Echo play that's going on. Sticky Bomb's laid down onto the shield. It is incredibly effective.
Nace is being able to survive. And this is the thing, Kai has so many threats that he has to worry about. He's trying to take down a Hisu and doing a good job of it, but he also has to deal with Pelican. There he goes, he takes Hisu and Nace down. That's how you do it, simple.
Just straight from afar, and they did bring him down in the end, but getting the res off onto Hisu, it ends up being just a 1-for-1. Still going to be trying to fight this. The Amp Matrix is there, but Bob's in the back line. They've got to be careful here. Still just peppering them from behind. Michelle, the South Bubble is used. It's an opportunity now for them, but nobody's taking care of Hisu from the high ground. It's top right power position. No one able to really just dethrone him from here. Still just putting in the shots. They are taking time off. Oh, Pelican trying to get him off. They are going to push him back, but at this point, I think it might just be too late. I mean, Atlanta Reign are going to be losing this team fight, but they did, as you said, Josh, they did, you know, secure that kind of mini objective, I guess, of burning off as much time as humanly possible.
And it's a huge amount of time that they've managed to get rid of, too. Toronto Defiant are building up to some big ults, so there's still snowball potential here, but Atlanta can be pretty happy with this. They weren't able to completely complete the objective on their offense, which means that that golden box of victory, or the white box of victory, is right there on the floor, and it's right close to where the Atlanta Reign are going to be spawning, too. So this rush composition, even if they end up losing players, the reinforcements are going to be fast. High ground positions are the areas they want to control. Stop Hisu farming them from afar.
Trying to push a couple of these players off the high ground. You can see the aggressive approach. Big Bionade onto Atlanta Reign. That's going to stave off this aggression tremendously, and they're so weak. Yeah, the supports had to play out of line of sight, so nobody could heal Gator. The duplicate as well. Another Reinhardt on the field. It's going to be brutal right now, and look at this cart moving forward. No one's stopping it. The Toronto Defiant staying in this series. Taking away the map, bringing it now to the 2-1. This is another opportunity, Josh, and I did say, you know, I made the claim there could be a reverse sweep in this third match. Listen, it could be happening. I may have spoken into existence.
It's very possible. This is the first step. And I think this simply continues the narrative that we've seen develop for the Atlanta Reign this season, where their success is extremely map dependent. And therefore, well, it's extremely strategy dependent and therefore map dependent. Toronto Defiant are going to escape from their tiny little boxes, run away, get some refuel, and head back in for the next map.
They don't waste any time. They don't get too long to talk about the match, so we're going to be going to a short break. They want to be using everything at their disposal to try and take this away. And moving forward, maybe complete that reverse sweep. We'll see soon enough, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe might see some more plays like this from Hisu. Nice little junk route 1-2 plays. Very inventive, very creative. We'll see you on the other side of the break. Don't go anywhere.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Such a good day of Overwatch.
New York kick things off with a bang.
Tuba manages to get rid of Masa.
Come on.
He'll get rid of Kodak. Do I see a Hawkeye? Oh!
Wait, what? Are you serious?
What's that? Oh dear. In the block. That's the Deadeye.
No. Unbelievable.
Yes! Come on! I don't believe what I have just seen! Raw! That is absurd!
That is exactly what the doctor ordered.
And despite their best efforts, the Chengdu Hunters are Chengdan.
Yeah! Due to the K, he's charged up. There's another graviton surge. He doesn't even need it to connect. You'll fall by the hand of a former comrade. And 2 Decay.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Overwatch League. I don't know why I entered that with a little jingle, but I did.
Jingle, nice.
Yeah, maybe we'll see it in the break screens. You know, we've got the new lo-fi hits, the finest hits from Brennan Hook. Possibly, hopefully not. Yeah, you're joining us in this series here, 2-1. The Toronto Defiant taking the most recent map, and they're looking like they're trying to make a little bit of a comeback. Which is looking all the more likely. I mean, it all seems to be quite composition dependent, which is honestly the narrative that's going on in a lot of these matches so far. You know, one team's strong at one thing, the other strong at another, and that's really where they're trying to collect a lot of their wins moving forwards. But it would be very interesting, very nice to see, kind of a cool storyline, especially because we went into this, you know, saying like, where are we thinking both of these teams landing? To have a nice close match would be pretty cool.
It definitely would, and I think that's where people would be expecting these teams to be as well. Toronto Defiant, they're punching upwards at the moment in their match against the Atlanta Reign, but we don't really know where anybody's going to end up. We also, Brent, don't really know where the meta is going to end up. Often at the beginning of a season, we have this very open feel to Overwatch. Teams haven't really figured out the best compositions to run everywhere. I can tell you that this week 1, we've seen a range of different comps. We've seen poke comps, we've seen brawl comps, we've seen dive comps, we've seen Ball, Sigma, Reinhardt, Winston, all sorts of different metas kind of developing through different teams and different maps. The league may, or this stage, by the point at the end of the May Melee, may decide, the teams may collectively realize that a certain composition is better than others. And at that point, it defines a lot about our teams that have qualified towards the May Melee. Because remember that this is all qualifiers for this first tournament that we have. You play 4 regular season matches, and at the moment, Toronto's got the better record. Atlanta's attempted to set that straight, but Toronto's not giving up without a fight.
It's really quite exciting, and yeah, that development process of figuring out, you know, the dominant composition. I quite like the state of Overwatch at the moment that we've got, at least in the Overwatch League, is that you have these archetypes. You have the double bubble dive. You have the rush compositions that revolve around, you know, a Lucio and a Reinhardt. You have the double shield compositions of Orisa and Sigma. And those are kind of like almost the staples that you know, mix and match an individual piece, a hero here, a hero there. And that's what we're really working around. It adds some very unique dynamics, because you have these teams that have really, honestly, they figured out a lot of these compositions a long time ago. You know, they had almost an entire year of playing, you know, the predecessor to Rush Comp, which was GOATs. I mean, we witnessed it.
Yeah,
you know, thank the Lord that that's done. But the point is that these players have had so much experience playing all these different types of compositions that they know the best places to work it out, and it makes it so that we really do only get to see really the most refined Overwatch possible. And now we're heading into Anubis, which is a map where you can play, honestly, a lot of different types of compositions.
You certainly can, and you can see that with both of these teams right now. Toronto are going to be defending with a double bubble, where Hisu and Naste are trying to do as much damage as they can. A very similar dynamic here to Dorado currently.
Ooh,
but what is that? I assume Kai hit a headshot and Massa finished off Naste? Something like that. That was not just the Lucio as the primary point of damage there. Kai must be popping.
Oh
and
my
he takes
goodness.
out Ansun J as well.
Yeah, the damage being done is immense. Nobody can really stand up to it here, and Kai...
That was
I
over
mean, that's
before
2
it
kills for
began.
him. But yeah, it had to have been like, you know, a headshot or something and a bit of spam damage coming from Massa. Just to really finish it off. But that opening pick, just immediately, has just cracked open the first point of Anubis. No problem.
Yeah, there was no fight. There wasn't even really a team fight there. Toronto didn't... Oh, here we go.
Here it is.
You can see the replay right now. So I'm taking a look at Nice health as well. It was just a 1v1? No way.
Massa just taking the fight into his own hands. All right, okay. Yeah, why not?
Oh my
Sorry, Kai, you don't get the credit.
Yeah, sorry, Massa. Giving the credit to somebody else when he deserved all of it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, not really the fantastic situational awareness from Nice, but moving forwards now, Hisu just trying to desperately build up an EMP and get some damage done. Sado has the Primal Rage, and it's the perfect place to unleash it as well. He's caught them all in the dark room here. You can see just cleaving through them as well. So much damage being done, so much disruption. And they are going to be able to stop them before the Atlanta Rain can really start to snowball, which is good news for the Toronto Defiants.
Extremely important. I don't think they realized that Hisu had made the swap over to Sombra. So Hisu had set up on the Mega Pack behind them and was kind of free farming them, got a hack on Massa as they engage. That removes the speed boost component, and it means that Atlanta can't get through the choke points as easily. Now they know the Sombra is there, Atlanta will probably approach these things a little differently. You need to put damage onto Hisu and force him to translocate out before you push in through these choke points. And that will stop your backline from being so vulnerable as you push through. Hisu is behind them again though here, looking for another hack. Doesn't quite manage to get anything.
Well, you see a Blizzard just to push off the Toronto Defiant.
Pelican used the Blizzard there because he thought Sado would hard engage with the Nano Boost, but Sado managed to wiggle his way out, slipped away.
Yeah, Sado got out of it. You see the duplicate being used here. Nice with the charge, okay, into the back line. Probably going to be able to build up a shadow. No one's really playing too close to him, but stunned up, almost taken out. Probably going to be pressured. What an ice wall, but what an aid! Lastro finds massive value from it and is forced out the sound barrier. Massa has to try and keep his team back into it. Kai being pressured into the back line. Sado with the Primal Rage has managed to just isolate him off in that tiny corner. And another team fight win now for the Toronto Defiant. I mean, that was just really phenomenal, I want to say, just individual plays from the Toronto Defiant there. Lastro with a single Bionade forcing out the sound barrier to keep them into, essentially, to force Massa, who's like, okay, we're either going to lose this fight or I have to commit this now if we want to still win this. And these staggers as well on top of it. I mean, they're just brutal.
That is absolutely brutal. Hawk got slapped twice. He got staggered so long, sleep came back off cooldown. That's a sad situation for the off-tank to be in, for the Atlanta Rain. But fear not, it only takes off a small portion of the time that they have available in the time bank here. Still over 3 minutes to work with, but Hisu's EMP could be deadly for them. EMP Bionade is a death sentence for Atlanta Rain's comp.
Might not even need the Nano Boost. The EMP actually, Hisu, I think, was just too far deep on top of that little hut and only actually ended up catching 2 players. Doesn't matter in the end. They win out the team fight. Actually invested in Nano Boost just to really seal it. I think they realized that the fight wasn't going exactly as they planned. But the Nano Boost and the EMP for a team fight win, pretty good. Sado's got the Primal Rage as well. The Grab has been built up. This ult rotation, very important. Atlanta Rain are also building up a couple of ultimates of their own, though. They can use that to try and counteract.
They can, but Atlanta's are difficult to get value from. Against such a mobile composition, it's hard to get good value out of the Blizzard, and they can just kite the Ant Matrix. Look how deep Toronto Defiant are going, because Sado has a get-out-of-jail-free card at any point here. Another 4-man Bionade as well, on both the supports.
Yeah, Lastro is just doing insane work right now. Just these single Bionade plays, which ultimately it's up to Hawk to try and eat and stop that. But he's having a rough game of it. I mean,
it's so sad watching him get staggered. I mean, the fact that you can look at his facial expressions and see how fed up he is of being staggered as well, just makes it all more real, doesn't it?
It's the 3rd time in this map, I think.
Have mercy, please. Have mercy.
5 ults.
Hisu's up. I mean, Hisu's up to another EMP. The double bubble ult cycle is so hard to deal with. This is why this comp is still viable on Anubis. You can play the rush, you can play the double bubble, but if you play this dive comp, you must have excellent ult cycling. And Toronto have got it on lock. Hisu's up to another EMP along with Sado's nano boost. That's going to generate up another primal. It's all coming together.
And yeah, they're looking for these opportunities. So they're just going to get into the dark room. Sado's going to, again...
They forced away Hisu. Somehow, I don't know why. Oh, there he is. He's just translocated away as well. They don't have EMP for this, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, that's such a good grab. It actually just completely separated Gator out of the line of sight. So the sound barrier does not connect onto him. He was on the other side of the wall. And that pick, I mean, Atlanta Rain can't do anything. They're just going to back off, but they're being hounded the entire time. It wouldn't surprise me to see Toronto invest ults to just stagger them out.
It's so well played from the Toronto Defiant.
Here we go.
Here comes the EMP, Bionade comes through, destruction, absolutely demolished here. And Lastro's going to heal up the damage that got done to Sado, try and build towards another nano boost for the next fight. It's a cycle of ultimates. It's perfect composition for using ult economy as an example, because it's what powers the entire composition when it comes down to the defense. This brawl comp just can't even get close.
And another, you're going to see Hisu trying to get the hack off as well. They're going to be playing right up into their spawn. Primal Rage being used again by Sado, disjointing them all over the place. Now Hisu did go down, but ultimately it's up to Massa to try and contest. He's going to be able to touch. Coming off the respawns, Hisu as well, so he needs to be careful of this. Probably going to get hacked up. Indeed he does. Off onto the side, onto the staircase, and brought down almost immediately. The rally armor from Ansunjae just really just cementing his team's lead here. And look at that, the Atlanta Rain don't even get an opportunity to really take a fight on the point. The power of that Toronto Defiant double bubble. The power of it, Josh.
Yeah, that's the best that I've seen the Toronto Defiant play so far this year. This map so far on defense. The ult cycling from them was really, really good. They got caught out, obviously, on point A. Nice with that individual mistake, but at the same time, giving that much respect to Massa would have been weird. So he thought he could win the duel and he just failed. But when it came down to their point B defense, that's where Toronto Defiant really got going. They have such a good idea of which ults they want to invest in the fight. Obviously, you can't use all of your ults to win on defense when you're running that comp. You want to be using some of them and charging up others. That's why the nano is so good, because it helps Sado get up to his primal, and the EMPs were getting charged with regularity. Something that we never really saw from Atlanta Rain was a focus on turning around and dealing with Hisu immediately. He was just able to free farm EMP the entire time. Very sad. 43 seconds left and he got hacked out of the blizzard there from Pelican. Unlucky, but that's what happens when you're playing into the EMP. I mean, even if he had the opportunity to use it in one of the later fights, the way that Defiant were rolling, it didn't seem like it would have made that much difference. It seemed just like an unstoppable, an insurmountable wall that Atlanta Rain had to climb. And now it's on them. Pelican defending here with the Junkrat, going for a full hold kind of composition. A weird look. I haven't really seen teams run this, but this seems to be the kind of strat that you would want to go for if you want to lock a team out of taking point A completely. The Junkrat is very good at being able to disrupt these dives when they come through. The mines are very good at displacing. Sado goes for a little bit of poke, and Lastro healing up. He's going to be able to get towards that ultimate. This is how the Toronto Defiant want to try and engage. Wait until the nano's online, but Pelican is such a threat. If Nace can time it, coming around the flank, as Sado engages here with the nano boost, this could be crucial. They're going for Gator, trying to take him out of the fight immediately, but this Amp Matrix works perfectly to be able to push the rest of the Toronto Defiant away, using this normally aggressive ultimate as a peeling tool. And now Pelican's got up to a Riptide, which is just going to be devastating for Toronto to deal with. This strategy is unconventional, but it looks like it's working so far. Gonna to see Pelican move around the top here. Naste is his target. He's working around the side. Naste has managed to escape right now. I don't know who the target for this tire really is, but anybody is good. They've already found the pick on Sado. The tire is just a cherry on top. Down goes Michelle, and both of the tanks have fallen for the Toronto Defiant. That is going to reset things again. Half of the time on the clock has already ticked away. The Atlanta Reign are in prime position right now. Double support ult available. Pelican still in position. He doesn't need the tire, it's just an added bonus. And Toronto, the question becomes, what can they do? My eyes turn to Naste. His duplicate is coming up online. If he can get a copy onto Gator and start swinging on them in market with that added mobility that the duplicate and the Echo itself offers, that's got to be the win condition here for Toronto, surely.
You can see Sado with the Primal Rage unleashing it. And already he's going to get forced down to Deadeye as well. Chunking him, he has to back off, he has to disengage away from this. The Amplification Matrix as well, forcing them back. You can see now the bubble also being applied, Bob, across the point, but it's going to force out a soundbite. The Atlanta Reign trying to make it work, just trying to hold on. Big advantage of the health points. Nice falling though, the duplicate comes down, but he's immediately taken out of it as Gator just pins him across the map. Still alive though. The Atlanta Reign are struggling, falling piece by piece. The self-destruct to try and hold on, not enough as the Toronto Defiant eventually overwhelmed.
And that's the first successful push for Toronto. And that, I mean, that pretty much locks it up in my eyes. If Toronto are able to take this one, Pelican has a tire, but I mean, we're talking about a 5-minute time back that they're going to have access to here. Or a 4-minute time back. That's a lot of time that's on the clock available for them. Can Atlanta Reign really hold back the tide like that? Toronto are eventually going to have an ult combo, surely, to take a single tick.
It's going to be hard. It's certainly going to be hard. And if you're wondering why Josh is doing his Jake impression, my PC had a little bit of a hiccup.
Listen, wasn't talking as fast as Jake, didn't even try.
Yeah, of course. Sado leading it in. He's going to be using both his bubble and he had the projected barrier on him. Now the tire comes through. Pelican trying to get a pick off with it. I mean, these players have gotten so good at trying to punish the tire when it's coming around the corner. The bubble and the shield just about saves them. And Defiant are just going to be staving them off for now.
3 minutes, Bren, though. And what I'm looking at here is they can engage with the nano boost on Sado, make a ton of space. He can primal in the back, and Naste is going to get duplicate at some point in this fight. How do you stop this?
Yeah, Bob comes through. It's an Amplification Matrix for the grab. Caught them. The Immortality Field. It's not enough to stop the Bionade. And it does so much work as well in stopping the healing. Slowly but surely ticking this up. They've almost got it. Hawk is going to get demeched as well, just trying to stall it out for as long as he possibly can. The duplicate fades as well, and now here comes the stall attempt as players are just coming in from almost every single angle. What an Earth Shatter! Gator just trying to clutch it. The stick comes through, but he's going to hold strong, falling solo. Eventually will go down. Nice again, the duplicate. Look at the damage he's been able to do. The work he's putting in, beaming him down. Chunking away the opposition, but eventually has to give it up. Recognizes that the spawners are coming in too fast from Atlanta.
Gator gets a big shatter, but the hidden carries of that fight were Kai and Massa, in my opinion. Kai got a Deadeye kill onto Michelle, which provided the opportunity for them to even take an advantageous fight and stagger the point out for starters, because Michelle was such high energy. And then Massa comes back on the Lucio and just locks Lastro in the head, takes him out immediately, and that's all of the heals gone. That's even before the shadow lands. Huge plays from Atlanta Reign to save themselves. Now with a minute and a half, things are looking sketchy.
Toronto are desperate right now. Only a rally to work with. It's kind of disjointed the entire flow of their comp. And Atlanta are just building up steadily their own ultimates. Again, playing at their pace. They might choose to engage in them as they're walking their way through the dark room here. You can see, okay, now the pressure's going to be coming out now as the ultimates are unleashed. Bob, as well as the Sound ID, Atlanta Reign want to try and take this fight, but Anson J has been caught out of position. Flashbanged up.
Destroyed.
So much damage being done. Bob's eventually going to zip his way out of there once more. Pelican holding onto this post bomb. He's found his target in the backline, lets it loose, won't find it, won't connect into a kill, won't convert it. But he's boarded on a lot of time now, and Atlanta Reign are still holding this position.
Naste is a rookie coming into the league this year. A lot of questions about how he'll perform, despite the fact he's been a successful player in contenders for a long time. He has the duplicate to save his team right now and take this to a win. His duplicates have found middling value previously. What can he get done this time?
The Deadeye could be the savior here for Kai. He's just holding it on, waiting for the engage. The duplicate also would allow him to use it, but Pelican goes down. That is massive. You're going to try and create some plays, create some magic here. Gator goes for the Earthshatter, but not good enough. Hisu, another kill for him. Sato rolling forwards with the help of his teammates now. And nice with the duplicate as he's just going to start swinging away. Has to hold up the shield, but nobody can contest, nobody can touch. And the Defiant are going to be walking away with another map win. Don't call it a comeback, but it is going to map 5.
Spoke it into existence, didn't you, Brent? The potential
really did,
for the reverse sweep here. Atlanta Reign go up to 2 pretty dominant wins in the first couple of maps. But Toronto have brought it back. The map pool, we said it, it was a bit of a mixed bag for the Atlanta Reign, and Toronto have taken Anubis as well. Great play from them, especially on their defensive half, where they were just able to hammer Atlanta with ult after ult after ult. Big plays towards the end there as well. A lot of patience on the side of the Toronto Defiant as they attacked. And this is them with the opportunity to go for what I would think most of the community would consider a little bit of an upset result here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it really does set the stage quite well. But the series isn't over just yet, as we've been saying. You know, map 5 will be coming up shortly, right after this quick break. And you know you don't want to miss it. You might be witnessing something great.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, everybody, to this absolutely stellar match between two dominant teams. 2-2 is the scoreline. The Toronto Defiant, they're making it happen. And they're trying to make the reverse sweep at least a possibility here. The Atlanta Reign as well, just obviously one map away also. And, you know, a casual reminder as well with this May Melee qualifier tournament that we've got going on. It's 4 matches in terms of the qualifiers. So every single match matters for both of these teams, for every team in the Overwatch League.
It does. Yeah, we've got a situation now where Atlanta are staring down a Northern 2 first week. 0 wins on the board, and getting reverse swept in one of them against the Toronto Defiant is not how they plan to start the Overwatch League. Not by any means. And that puts them in a rough place for contention for going deep in the May Melee and starting out the year on a bad foot.
We'll see what they can do. Yeah, it really would be quite heartbreaking, I think, for the Atlanta Reign as well, given the fact that there was so much hype going into this season with this team. I mean, it feels like almost every single season, the Atlanta fans are promised that, you know, this season will be the season, we're going to be competing with the top levels, and it just hasn't really come to fruition. And not qualifying for the May Melee would be brutal.
It would be brutal, but they have shown in their game against the Florida Mayhem, and I think they've shown here in the first 2 maps, that they are a very good team. It's just that there's only a certain facet of their game where they are elite, and then in the other facets of their game, they're just pretty good. And I think that provides clear direction for Atlanta to work on. It's not like they really need to get their Reinhardt comps up to scratch. You don't need to progress much further on those. You're already being able to get wins on them. But it's the rest of your game where we start to have questions. And Busan is a map that we're going into here. Mecha base, extraordinarily good for the rush comps, but we've also seen other teams have a lot of good success running counter comps to that. The rest of them are much more around the Winston, around the poking. You can play ball here, you can play Winston, but it's down to what your team feels comfortable on. This is going to put Atlanta Reign in an interesting scenario. They're fighting for their lives right now, actually, in terms of like their reputation coming into the league. Northern 2 is not how they wanted to start this year. For Toronto Defiant, a 2-0 first week would be unbelievably good.
Yeah, it would be really, really good for them. It all comes back to control. We're going to see with this Wrecking Ball Zarya composition against the kind of more traditional dive comp that Atlanta are running. See the high ground being taken by Gator, holding down the forward position, trying to get in any sort of peppermint damage. And Sato goes for the power driver kill, but Massa is the one who actually goes down. This is a split attempt here. Kai eventually pressured it a little bit later on. 2 big opening picks here for the Toronto Defiant.
Massive opening kills. Toronto's comp is much more pokey. It's got the damage from the Zen in the backline. It's got Hisu poking you from long range. And Sato and Michelle are going to be constantly disrupting. Whereas the Atlanta Reign, they don't have that same damage coming out from the backline. They've got healing, they've got damage boosts, but they're really relying on Kai to pop off. They've allocated an entire other player, Massa, to ensure that Kai is a carry. And Sato's just going to sit on him. I mean, to his own detriment here.
Yeah. Sato going down there, not fantastic. It's the kind of centerpiece that you need in this comp to make it work. Discord Orb is going to be placed on Gator just to keep him away, and you can see Hawk doing a good job of forcing the recall here. He's backing up. Just rolling through. Sato already back into the next fight. It's the power of Wrecking Ball. Ooh, got that post bomb connected onto both of the tanks. Both of them didn't really know what to do here. Michelle so low. Post bomb from Pelican. He actually brings himself down with it. I'm not sure if Anderson J actually got the stun, the shield bash off, so that he couldn't actually get back out. It's turned it around, honestly. The Atlanta Reign, it looked like they were showing some great signs of taking that team fight into their own hands and eventually recontesting the point, but not to be.
It really wasn't to be. Atlanta had an opportunity as Sato fell, but they waited far too long. They just were too timid, too timorous in how they wanted to approach across that point. And now Gator's gone over the ball. The problem is Gator is going to find this so much more difficult because of the Discord Orb. Lastro is now going to be creating massive value from the backline with this Zen.
Yep, anything the Discord lands on, it's just a free game, honestly. See, Kai almost got blew up there, but while this point pressure's going on, Bob also just laying out the damage into Bob, who's also distracted, off onto the side. Actually taken out here. Big Bionade from Iris, but look at Nice as well. Just still trying to contest this point up, and the longer this fight goes, the worse it's looking right now for the Atlanta Reign. And honestly, a must-win round as well. You can see the damage being done. The Discord Orb is so potent. Pelican is effectively just chunked down before the fight even begins as soon as that orb is applied to him. The Transcendence on top of it is just to heal up the rest of the team. The grab to catch him so nobody can contest. Just pure style points. The Toronto Defiant with the 100-0.
That is domination. And the hidden carry throughout all of that, in my opinion, is Lastro just pounding in damage from the backline, making it so difficult for Pelican, for Gator to do anything, because as soon as they go forwards, Discord Orb is applied onto them. This is it. this could be the moment where Toronto completes the reverse sweep. This would be wild to see, but we've already had one denied earlier today.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting as well. I mean, Atlanta Reign kind of get the worst RNG out of all of this as well. This big, wide open area, not really fit to be playing any sort of rush compositions as well.
They have to win them both anyway, though, Brent.
They do have to win them both. It wouldn't really matter in the end, in the grand scheme of things, but I'm sure they wouldn't have been hating just to see that mecha base. But regardless, you've got to deal with the hand that you dealt, and as it stands, the Atlanta Reign need to pull something out. Maybe Kai on the Widowmaker is the answer they need. We've seen him pull off some ridiculous stuff before.
He was getting pressured a lot in the previous round. Couldn't really get to his positions where he wants to do extraordinary amounts of damage, and he's already getting worried by Naste. Naste didn't really have a carry performance in the prior round, but he's just doing his job really well, threatening Kai, stopping him from carrying. And Hisu goes down on the other side, Pelican coming in for the punish. Really good response from the Atlanta Reign.
Wow.
Peeling and counter diving.
That's unreal timing as well. They just stopped the point from being ticked over. So initially probably would have been like an extra, I don't know if I'm to estimate, like 20% on the board here maybe for Toronto. If they had got that cap off early enough and just stalled and staggered it out, but they stop it just beforehand, which is a big deal in the grand scheme of things here.
It could be the difference maker. Kai now is in a position where he can't get as pressured as easily. The ball and the Tracer are flanking around the left-hand side. Nice with the Harmony Orb, trying to get into position. Hisu with the Discord Orb up at the back. And they're trying to find Kai. They want to keep pressuring the opposing hit scan so that they can't have these pop-off moments. Can't just decide a fight and end it before it's begun. But Sado gets punished.
Yeah, taken down. Pelican was just hunting him. Removed from the fight. Massa traded out. What is that? Nice, you got to be kidding me. The 2-piece of the post bomb. It was looking so good for the Atlanta Reign, but just like that. Even without Sado, they just found openings. They created openings.
That pulse bomb is enormous. That's a game changer. I'll tell you what this reminds me of. Oh, that's so good as well. Just continuing to apply pressure to Kai. Recall, stick, right where Iris is. That reminds me of the Yaki 3K. A literally game-changing ultimate coming out from the Tracer.
The mine's coming through. Kai with a quick little headshot from across the map here. He's finding his targets. That is a brave angle to be taking, Lastro, when you know that he's got the wall hacks up. It matters not. Hisu wants to try and take the 1v1, and he will come out on top of it. Bit of a health advantage as well as that closer range. Definitely going to be assisting in some capacity. We'll see how much more he can do. Bob sent out down onto the point just to put a bit of pressure onto it. You can see it starting to get capped up as well. Just being whacked in the back of the head by the orbs, but it is going to flip it over into their favor.
That poor man's pate is being absolutely destroyed. Toronto Defiant, though, they're in control of the point, and they've been doing well in this round, but they're still behind in terms of the capture. Right? Atlanta Reign are at 59% here. They only need it to go a couple of moments more in their favor. The recall almost back into his own pulse bomb, but Sado is the first to fall again in these team fights.
It could have been a disaster right there for Pelican, but still the Toronto Defiant are taking it decisively, using the rally to engage onto them. They're going to be holding on. It was almost brutal. I mean, maybe Sado's philosophy is that, you know, he's playing Wrecking Ball. He's quick enough as it is anyway. Just feeding, inting into the enemy isn't that detrimental, but he is getting caught out a lot at the start of these team fights. Thankfully,
he's also stopping Atlanta Reign from being able to get into good positions. And the constant pressure on Kai has made him swap to Ashe now. So I think there is a method to the madness here for Sado. And
exactly. Yeah. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's almost like an intelligent inting. You don't see it often, especially not from you, but you don't do that. I knew you were going to say that. You don't do that. I had to try and stop you in the tracks here, but Gator on the ball, just trying to zoop around. Michelle just holding strong onto this point, 92%. This could be the series, the reverse sweep. They need to try and close this one out. Gravitic Flux will connect onto one. Can they convert it into the kill? The grass comes out from Michelle, but not enough, and they flip the point back over. The Atlanta Reign.
Fantastic shot there from Iris towards the end.
Very prominent position that they're in right now, as well as they're cleaning up the rest of these stragglers. God, the Atlanta Reign needed that.
They used a lot of ults to be able to get it, though. They used Flux and the Trance at the same time. Toronto Defiant don't have that big offensive tool like the Flux to come in this time around, but they have Bob to be able to contest the point, which is going to be really useful for the rest of their team to not compromise that positioning, and they still have the Trance if they need to get messy towards the end of the fight. They still have the tools, but at the end of the day, I'm looking towards people like Hisu, Kai, Pelican, Nace. Who is going to be the magic maker that turns this series to their favor?
Force bomb comes by, connects, Hawk goes down, and that's a huge opening. Transcendence Bob layered down on top. Pelican falls as well. This could be it with the Toronto Defiant turning it. Who is going to be answering this? The Atlanta Rangers trying to get bodies onto the point. They just about touch it, but they're going to be paying with their lives. Massa will go down, and as the overtime goes down, so do the hopes and dreams of the Atlanta Reign. And the Toronto Defiant, they complete the reverse sweep. You can see it in the cams. Elation is the word I would use.
What an extraordinary win for the Toronto Defiant. A 2-0 week for them. That is a fabulous beginning in the May Melee qualifiers. KDG has got to be extremely happy about that. That might be who is just running around in the background there, giving hugs to everybody. Sato getting cradled. That is a big win. It can't be overstated.
Oh, you love to see it, don't you? I mean, it's these kind of games as well that moving forward is creating these rivalries, you know. The Atlanta Reign and the Toronto Defiant, when the next time these two teams match up, you know, you got to remember that. The Toronto Defiant just squeaking out that reverse sweep win to close out our weekend of games. Unreal
What a special
stuff.
way to end a fantastic first week of the Overwatch League.
Yeah. Yeah, it truly was. It truly was. I mean, we are just blessed, I think, with some of the quality of these teams in North America as a region in the Overwatch League in 2021. Every team has kind of, you know, attempted to make these upgrades, side grades, and really elevate themselves, I think, moving forwards from 2020. Toronto Defiant, obviously, no exception to that rule whatsoever. And it's paid off for them. I mean, as well, I just got to reiterate as well, really hammering it at home. The 2-0, so important. You only get 4 qualification matches leading into the May Melee. It's a massive deal. 50% of your games so far will be wins leading into this. It's huge for them.
That is absolutely huge. I'm morphing into some kind of weird NFT, I think, for a moment there. But
quickly show the cam.
Yes. Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. For the Atlanta Reign, though, this starts, you know, some uncomfortable narratives for them. Are they going to continue another season where they fail to fulfill that potential? Yeah. Last year as well, they had, I think their coaches reported they had something like an 80% win rate in their scrims, but they could never convert it against the good teams. Toronto, though, they're your winners today. And our player of the match, it's got to be Lastro, in my opinion. This guy was a phenom in the backlines. He had so many moments where he turned the game around, especially in the latter few maps where he was playing more of the Ana. And then even in the last map, the Zen was so powerful.
Yeah, channeling the power of Big Richard. I mean, he just had an unreal performance, especially in the tail end of the match. I mean, the guy was just... He was really setting up a lot of the plays. Integral Bionades to really set up and honestly disrupt. The thing is, Bionade is an ability that if you got somebody who can land them often, it's almost like a mini ultimate. It's so impactful. And it wins them so many of these engagements here, like we're seeing on Anubis, setting it up. Look at this, the EMP into the Bionade. Again, an absolute killer combo. So he is going to be our player of the match presented by Xfinity. You can see the statistics here. Well deserved entirely.
Absolutely, and keeping his deaths to an absolute minimum as well, which is always tough to do when you play against a team like Atlanta. They're going to turn up the tempo against you. They're going to force you to make really fast decisions about where you want to rotate, how you want to defend. And if you fail to answer those questions properly, you're going to get run over. That didn't happen with Lastro at any point during this match. And although they went down to an early 2-0 or 0-2 deficit, they always stayed strong, believed in the comeback, executed our first reverse sweep of the season, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Just astounding stuff all around. And that's going to do it for the matches, at least for this weekend. But the show doesn't stop there. We're going to go to a quick break, but on the other side of it, we've got the Watch Point post show. You don't want to miss it, ladies and gentlemen. We've got the whole crew ready and waiting to dish out some analysis. So we'll see you then.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Xfinity, the preferred internet provider of the Overwatch League.
Welcome to the Watchpoint Post Show presented by IBM. And as you guys could all see, we are here joined by Lastro from Toronto Defiant. Alright, Lastro 선수 인사 한 말씀 부탁드릴게요.
네, 안녕하세요. 토론토 디파이언트에서 서빌러를 맡고 있습니다.
Hi everybody. I am the sub healer for Toronto Defiant, Lastro. Alright, 어떻게 지금 뭐 기분 어떠세요, Lastro 선수? 지금 how are you feeling, Lastro, right now?
초반에 실수를 좀 많이 해서 좀 힘들었는데 네, 역습해서 기분이 정말 좋네요.
괜찮아요, 이제는?
네.
Alright, I feel like I made a lot of mistakes, when the series started, but I'm feeling good about the win, and I think I was able to get back on track as the series went on. Alright, I feel like Toronto Defiant, you guys have a really good mix of seasoned OWL players as well as rookies. And you, Lastro, as being one of the veterans, how are you helping out the newer players on your team? 일단 제가 봤을 땐 토론토 팀이 좀 어떻게 보면 되게 베테랑들도 많고 또 좀 새로 들어온 선수들도 루키들도 좀 많은 것 같아요. 또 이제 라스트로 선수도 어떻게 보면 베테랑 선수 중 한 명이신데 좀
네.
새로 들어온 선수들에게 좀 어떻게 좀 도움을 주고 계신가요?
그냥 서로 실수할 때 괜찮다고 말하면서 서로 열심히 하는 것 같아요. 특히 수민이 형이 좀 경력이 사도 형이 경력이 많으니까 좀 많이 리드해주는 것 같아요.
Right. It's basically, you know, if we're making mistakes, if the rookies are making mistakes, we just the veterans just tell them, hey, it's okay, it's fine, let's move on. Just go on with the game, and you'll be fine. And we sort of rely a lot on Sato being the he was in the league the longest, and he's sort of our in-game leader as well. So we rely on him and we listen to him as well. All right. And also, you guys. During the match today, I saw that you guys transitioned from more like a Ryan brawl comp to a dive comp after map 2. I just want to ask, was that more map dependent or how was that decision made? 다음 질문은 제가 이번에 좀 경기를 보면서 봤던 건데 처음에 좀 라인 조합을 좀 쓰시다가 뒤에 제가 봤을 때 한 두 번째 맵이었나? 그쯤 가서 아무튼 좀 중반 정도로 갔을 때부터 조합을 바꾸셨어요. 뭐 윈스턴도 쓰고 이제 아나도 쓰시고 하셨는데
네.
그게 이제 좀 어떻게 보면 아틀란타랑 이제 싸우기 위해서 조합을 바꾼 건지 아니면 원래 그게 정해져 있던 건지 궁금하네요.
네, 원래 처음에 이 맵에서 이렇게 하기로 정해지긴 했었는데 애틀란타한테 좀 잘 먹혀서 좀 많이 놀랬어요. 그래서 그냥
이 맵이 어디 맵이죠?
아누비스요, 아누비스. 그래서 좀 잘 먹혀서 좀 많이 놀랬어요. 잘 먹혀서 또 다행이고.
오케이. 그 다음에는 그래서 이제 계속 그 조합으로 계속 가신 거고?
네, 그래서 계속 그냥 아나 조합으로 이제 뽑아야겠다 생각하고 그냥 계속 아나 했어요.
Right, so it was we actually planned that comp on you know we had a planned comp for every map. We didn't actually change anything midway or anything. But on Anubis, I was really surprised that our Anubis comp actually really worked well on the against the Atlanta Reign. So we sort of just stuck with that, and I stuck on Ana. Because it worked super well, and after that we just continued to play that same comp. Alrighty, that is it for the player interview. Lastro, thank you so much, and congratulations on your win. Lastro 선수 여기서 이제